Robert Awdry to entertain his young son Christopher when he was bedridden with measles. And after his father retired, Christopher Awdry took over the writing of the Railway series, creating new characters and brand new adventures. And this June, he's discussing his life in a one-off show at London's Hammersmith Apollo, hosted by rail enthusiast Pete Waterman. It's called 85 Years of Letting Off Steam, and I'm pleased to say that we can now speak to Christopher himself. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Gemma.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited to talk to you, actually, because I'm a big Thomas the Tank Engine fan, and in fact, all my family are, so this is very exciting. Could you start by telling us your childhood memories of Thomas, because really this was for you?
It was, yes. I was, as you know, in bed, bedridden. Being 2.5, I don't really remember much of the actual event myself, but it only struck me later. Maybe that was a good thing, I don't know.
Probably. And so, did your dad used to write the stories on the spot for you, or was it he used to write them down and then read them together, or how did that used to happen?
It was, I suppose, a bit of both. He began by making the stories up on the spot. And as you may know yourself, if you try and do that, you don't always come out with the same words every time.
Yeah.
And apparently what happened was that he told me the stories, but differed on several things. So I used to say, "Look, Daddy, you got that wrong." I think he made me a bit annoyed. But anyway, he decided that he'd better get the damn thing right. And so he then went away and wrote what later became published as now what we know as the first Thomas book, the first Railway series book. Thomas didn't come until the second one.
Wow. I mean, what a story, and what a legacy. I mean, you must have been close to your dad, I imagine, for the fact that, you know, that this was your routine and he wrote all these books for you. How did he feel about Thomas, seeing the success that it then went on to have?
I think he was a bit bewildered, actually, because he, as far as he was concerned, this was just a story to amuse a kid. And then it sort of morphed into something else quite different, as we know.
Yeah. I mean, it still is a story to amuse a kid in many ways, though. I guess it just turned into millions of kids.
Absolutely, yes, yeah. If he could have seen at that moment how many lives he was going to affect, I think he might have stopped.
What makes you say that?
I hope not, but I hope not, but I don't know.
Was he quite a shy man? Was this not really his plan?
It certainly wasn't his plan. I don't think he was particularly shy. I don't think a clergyman can be shy, because he's got to deal with his parishioners whether he likes it or not. But it certainly wasn't planned the way it turned out.
And then for you, because you obviously then, you know, took over, how much of a responsibility was that? Because by the time you started writing the books, we were already in love with Thomas the Tank Engine and already had a very specific idea about him. So that must have been quite a responsibility.
Well, yes, I suppose it was in a way. I didn't feel that it was at the time, because I knew that if I was going off the rails, sorry about the pun, I always had Father there as a backup, and if I was going astray, then he would, I think, have tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Look, no, you be careful, don't do So in a way, I had a shoulder to cry on, if you like.
Your backup. And
Yeah.
can I ask as well, who is your favourite character, or have you got a favourite story that that stays in your mind? And is it one of yours or is it one of your dad's?
Oh, it would be one of Father's. The one I think that sticks in my mind, and I must have read it so often to children, is Thomas Comes to Breakfast, which was based on a real event. I don't think the breakfast was there, but a fitter left the brake on the engine off, and it simply chunked away on its own. I'd hit and ran into a house.
Wow. And that's your favourite. That one's endured. And
I think so.
before I let you go, sorry, I know I'm kind of hogging you a little bit here, but why do you think it has such an enduring appeal? Why do we still love him now?
I think children appreciate their own foibles, if that's the right word. The characters are created as children. They behave as children. They always have the factor controller to back them up if things go wrong. But that aspect, although they may not appreciate it, I think children do. They get too accustomed to their friends, perhaps, behaving in a similar way, and they relate to that.
Yeah. And and as I say, it's lovely to see now, because I can remember how I felt reading those Thomas books for the first time, and now I get to read them to my daughter, and I see she reacts in exactly the same way that I did when I was younger, and I'm sure that's the case for parents all over the world. So
Yes.
thank you very much for joining us today. That was a true honour. Thank you, and good.